Hello traders, this is Alex with the StockMatrix program. Today I'm going to do a weekend update. Again, we're counting down to the expiration of this trial of the StockMatrix program. We're going to end it on January 6th, so about 2 months from now. This is my X account. It's standard intro here. CBOTman33 is my handle if you want to check it out. Again, I posted the trades. This is the last trade we had, Meta, which was, an anomaly thing. So we'll talk about it here more in depth. Here's the bar chart. Again, where I keep my trades for you guys. This is just a simple portfolio. Kind of gives you, we dropped quite a bit on that Meta fiasco. We bought puts. It was, calls, and then we gapped almost 11% down on an earnings deal. Really, their AI is broken apparently. Judas, 11% gap is stupid. Especially a trend-changing gap. That's just crazy. In this day and age, supposedly AI is so smart, it's all corrupt, man. That AI is going to be, because they should never, a good AI system should never have gaps in their charts. That's just all there's to it. They should predict everything, right? They're smart. People are going to get killed by believing AI too much. Anyway, you can review this. These are all the trades that we've done. Now, again, I do $1 per trade. We've had $138 or 138 trades, including the 17 select stocks that we have on. Pretty simple thought there. Moving on to the actual StockMatrix program in Excel here, this is the main statistical page. You see we have some annuals coming in. Pretty important, right? Adobe has, I marked this, we had two, plus the timing. 1440 is again, these are cycles of 45, and if they're highlighted, they're close, right? We did have some new highs. This one, Amazon, made a new high yesterday, Friday, October 31st, and that was also 270 days or degrees, right? If you're a Gann person, 270 degrees from that previous high. So again, on a Gann number, and 1030 is pretty close to a 45er as well. Let's review. I got this highlighted. I want to check it out. Hang on. Okay, I pulled up Adobe here. Reason why I highlighted is we did have quite a few that came in annuals, right? And one was from the previous open and last year's high. And remind me, well, I guess you can't remind me, but I'll try to remember when we look at the daily charts to look at that a little closer and see what it was last year. But you can see we had basically 4 in a short period of time. So Adobe, has some stuff here. Now, it doesn't mean anything. It could gap, right? And that'll be the premise. But other things are quiet. A lot of these, the next annuals don't come in till the middle. There's a couple, and there's one in Google. Let's look at Microsoft quick because they had 2 this period. Yeah, they also had a couple on the 2nd. Oh, I guess that's the ones I got. We have one on the 4th. So there are 3 in here. One is the open, right? The birth on the chart of Microsoft. So again, all pretty key. And of course, that's interesting, right? Now, again, we have about 65 days left till we quit this free trial. Hopefully you guys go back, and if you're new, just review it. I mean, you can go back. I don't know, I put out 50 video out of it, 40 videos anyway. I try to do once a week or when something really crucial happens. Again, we're trying to learn how to use a systematic approach, and then we use the options. Now, to do that, of course, we got to have a trade sheet. One option, one call or put has 100 shares in it, right? So this is my index of the 100 shares. So we're controlling about $500,000 worth of actual stock. Let me pull this over. Yeah, so the previous, now again, I don't do this every time, but it looks like October 28th, I clicked on it, and it was about a 511,000, right, which was a new high. And then by Friday, we're down to 494. Looks like kind of back to, previous weeks where it closed. So again, as an index, right, that's 100 shares multiplied. So that's this column right here. That's 494,000. We have 9 short-term trend up, and we have only 1 up since we flipped Meta. So again, the short-term trends are fast, and the longer-term trends are actually the positions we have. So we have 9 calls, right, or long, and then we have 8 puts, or going short, or being negative the market when we're making money as the market goes down. All right, let's move on to the video. Here's the actual stocks matrix chart, and you can see that it kind of popped new highs last moon period, which again ended on the 29th. This one ends on November 5th, which is a Wednesday. So let me just double check. Yeah, that's at 1300 hours, so we'll count that one. That'll be a full day on the moon period. Now again, we chart this by the moons in price and the square of 9 in time. Now that's a Gann thing, right? That's mostly everything I derive is from WD Gann. put it in my own little format, package it how I like it. I tweak it. I do the Gann squares, and some of these dotted lines you'll see. These are 1-to-1, right? One moon period over to one square 9 of time or price. So again, we have cardinal crosses. If I forget to mention these, you can see them. These are areas of support resistance, and also the squaring of the range, right? So like this one squared out here. This one squared out here, which was high. Again, all that's part of the Gann stuff, and the solar eclipses, which is Gann's most important thing. A lot of people didn't realize. Anyway, this kind of set it up. This so far, and again, this moon period, which was a couple days ago, was definitely active. Some of them did make some major highs, major lows. Well, here is your gap on Meta. Again, the gap occurred after the time period. Interesting. That time period did not cause a reversal. It did not cause an inside event. It caused a gap, and it was massive, an earnings deal. Since their AI is so stupid or it's so corrupt, either way, it's evil, right? I mean, there's no reason in this day and age to have 11% gap. Now, Amazon kind of started that, as well as IBM, and now all these are gapping. So the trend is to have weird anomalous gaps, hence the options, right? And why I like options. If you'd have lost 100 shares, you'd have lost, what is that? We got in here, down in here. Let's go back to the trade sheet. Microsoft. We got short since it gapped, and the opening was 669. Now we unofficially got stopped in at 695, but the opening was 669, so we got even worse, right? So the options were worse, everything was worse, but 669. Let me hang on. Yeah, I did the quick calculations. Meta dropped on 100 shares. If you had $8,000 on the opening, so. Now, the option didn't lose that much at all, right? So, again, the benefits of these options is when you have anomalous things, some war, 9/11 incident, those kind of things. We got half puts on, so we really can't get hurt too bad on some big deal. Let's move on. That gaps pisses me off. If you've been following me, the AI is not smart. They're corrupt, evil. If the programmers are kind and considerate and God-fearing, then that's how their AI platform will be. If they're evil, corrupt, want gaps, want chaos, the AI is gonna he's going to put that out there, right? Because it's programming. Anyway, here's Coke. Kind of filled in the gap. We're long. Stops we're still around there. Here's Google, one that made a new high. You can see it also gapped up. At least it was in the direction of the trend. Stops are way the hell down here, man. If we get stopped out of these trades, it's going to be a sad day. We got in here. So, I mean, we're leaving a lot on the table if we happen to get stopped out. Now, of course, the computers, right, AI in particular, can calculate where the stops are. They know exactly where they're located. So if they want to cause chaos and a wrinkle in an index, or certain platforms across the spectrum, they know exactly where to run the stops to cause that chaos, right? If that's what their goal is, and if all the AIs or platforms out there are communicating, then they can create that chaos. Okay, you can see we had a little gap moon period. We did go down. It didn't click 2 bars down. It takes 2 of these boxes to get the trend to go, the short-term trend down. So it's kind of more neutral, right? So if we go down here, then the short-term trend will then be down. But you can see we had a huging ranges. Stops are down here. We got in here, not a big loss, but man, we're leaving a lot on the table. I think the high on our portfolio was about, I think it was around 67, 8,000, and now we're at about 48,000. So again, we're really leaving a lot on the table here, just from nothing going on but chopping. And we're still creeping highs out, but nothing too major. Now I wanted to mention too, I will not, any new trades I'm doing in January calls, since we're ending it in January, I'm not going out the 90 days like I would when we were first doing it in the middle, months ago. So we're only going to do January since we're ending it on January. We have a preset end date, so there's no reason to pay for all that extra time. All right, anyway, here's Apple. Oh, that was Amazon. You can see the gap that we had intra-moon period. And just there, I mean, it's new highs though. And we talked about how weird it was that Amazon hasn't made a new high when all the other ones were. And sure enough, bam, made a new high on a gap, some massive push. Again, their AI platform does not work. Whoever they got hired, or maybe they have their own. It's just stupid. Now, again, our stops are way down here. So now we got in here right before all the chaos gap stuff. So at least we didn't get screwed on the opening. Here's Apple, another new high. Kind of, this is squaring of the range, right? This red line from this low here, right? So that's why that's there. So basically we kind of scored out the range, time and price, right? Because we hit the trend line and then closed back below it. So we got time and price squared, as Gann would call it. So, and our stop is here, pretty logical stop below the solar. I like all that. Now, again, if I forget to mention it also, and you can review these, the solar eclipse close is the support or the resistance, right? Depending on if it's above or below it, and then the previous ones as well, right? So if you're wanting a serious break, you wait for a buy down to the previous solars, or maybe an average, right? Do some math in there to figure out the average. Here's Tesla, a little consolidational bullish pattern here. Again, one that hasn't made a new high in 315 plus days. So that's kind of odd, just like we mentioned in Amazon all that time. So again, be prepared for some weird ass gap up here, right? Now that's probably a sell if you've been accumulating positions on this whole collapse that we had. At least maybe smart to bail on some, right? That kind of thing. Here's Lynn, the hydrogen play. Again, it also did not make new highs and fell apart, right? Here's 360 degrees off this high, or one over. So it is either here, which was kind of the last hurrah, and then that actually this one actually broke the trend, right? So 360 degrees definitely was important to me because I look for these trend, and if I go back and look at volume, I guarantee you this one had probably the most volume in that week quarter moon period, right? Anyway, we've had several little gaps, and lows are down here. You got to assume, it's possible to knock that out and probably have some potential bear trap. Now we did not have a trap up here, so we really don't need a trap down here. So it could be just a coagulating bottom. Unless the trend is truly down, fundamentals suck or something, then it makes sense. Here is ED, Edison. Again, just kind of there. Our stops are logical. Square. Now, again, why wouldn't it go down here? I mean, we were just down here in January. Again, it's electric company, right? I mean, it should be a cyclicalness to it. So here is Adobe. Again, the bear of bears. You can see we're kind of caught. Let me, I want to add this trend line. I'm just going to run it out to here, so just for my personal note. You can see the solar eclipse is the resistance. We got close to it and then failed and had a terrible close Friday, or I guess on the 29th. So again, kind of the trend is up short term, and we did not go 2 boxes down, which would switch it over to a downtrend, right? So on the short-term trend. Now, again, we are short this, or got puts on, right? Making money as it goes down. So we're basically at a break even right here. Stops are at a small loss. IBM, again, the creature of habit. Look at this moon period, right? I mean, it's such a AI is supposed to be so smart. It would have averaged that out over time. Anyway, that's just amazing, man. And it got us short, then it went long. I mean, holy buckets, man. It's just, again, AIs are not your friend. Just trust me on that. They are evil. Don't put any weight into them. They're programming by people, and they can be a positive force or a negative force. I think these AI platforms are designed for chaos. My opinion. One thing we do know about AI is they do talk to each other. So if it's a full corrupt system, every AI platform is communicating. So it can really cause fake news terrible. I mean, half the stuff you see is AI generated. It's not real. You really got to assume, again, this is how I've always acted throughout my 4 decades of trading, is I believe 10%, 90% is bullshit. That's just my theory, and it's really everything you see is not real, most of it. Okay, here's Procter & Gamble, again, kind of caught in the downward stigma, kind of a parallel, right? They've had some, quite a few of their stuff that they sell has been flagged as bad, or food dyes. The new administration has probably caused a lot of this sag into these lows. Again, they have so many products. It shouldn't affect them long term, but it does cause, as they switch over, it's going to cause some of those products to go up in price. So anyway, now again, they don't create a lot of the products. They're just a packager or the reseller of them. There's probably some individuals that have to change some of their stuff. They lose money. It takes a while for it to transfer over to Procter & Gamble, and eventually, right, the consumer, the taxpayer, pays for it of the extra cost. If it saved the money to put food dyes in, and it sold more of that product, then it's like I bought some meat the other day at the store. Oh my God, it was so red. I go, meat's not that red. I mean, geez, it was brick red. I go, something's wrong there. I just put something in there, made it look good, but man. Anyway, here's JPM, the diamond, kind of had an outside period, no follow through. It's kind of a dud. Again, this not an outside, but a reversal period. We had one here, we had one back up. This is a kind of a channeling effect, right? That's your correction. hit the 1-to-1. Here's your cardinal cross kind of in the middle of it all. Another short-term cardinal cross right in here. So we got some stuff squaring out of the range right from the low is right here on the November 20th moon period. So, and an old 360 degree coming in, a 90 degree from the low. So was this one as well. Anyway, you can see it there. JP Morgan is a channeler. We had a decent correction in April. The system got on here, so we caught this little pop up and we caught this bear. So JP Morgan's been, and we got long here and didn't get stopped out to here. So JP Morgan's been a good trade for the StockMatrix program. Here's Coinbase. Just kind of there. We got quite a bit of risk on this trade because we got jib-jabbed in at the low, stops are over the highs. So Coinbase is not a low-risk trade by any stretch of the imagination. Again, hence the options, right? If you're risking 100 shares on the shares price movement, you can lose quite a bit, as we found out on the 8 grand hit on Meta on the shares. Here's Cintas, kind of dragging down. You got to assume, right, it's going to knock that out. Why wouldn't it? Stops are up here, so if you're bear, you catch it. This is also the solar, which I don't like that stop. So I would sell it where I got in, or get stopped in, or basically on this solar, right? This is kind of the area of resistance. Now we have 3 of them, so it might go up, somewhere in here as the resistance, maybe this 1-to-1 downtrend line. If you're a bear, right, and you're wanting to sell it, or got too many long and you're needing out, that kind of thing. 315 degrees over. Now again, we had 3 kind of bottoms. That's why you can see I've been marking these. So again, 315 degrees basically kind of goes out to here. And then, of course, that completes the cycle, the annular, right in here. So, anywhere. All right, I'm going to switch over to the daily charts. Hang on. Okay, we're back on bar chart, and we're going to go to my watch list, which I create. They give you 1 free or maybe 2 on the watch list. And then I click on my watch list that I created, which, again, has all these plus my commodities. And then I hit the flip chart button, and this is the charts that I use. And I drew some of this parallel stuff in, some of these trend lines and whatnot, just to have something on the chart. I kind of quit using Instant software. Anyway, here is NVIDIA. I'm going to flip these through real quick. There's no reason to beat a dead horse. You can see the meta gap. We had a nice archer here. These kind of bottoms are important, and they usually don't do this. So when it breaks these saucer-y bottoms, that's pretty key, and it'll be good resistance back into the saucer area if it could ever get back in there. You can see we had a good volume trade, so the gap is real, but man, what the frick? I bitch about AIs, so. And you can see I drew in some parallels here the other time we did the video on the red ones, but I also did these black lines, and you can see that there's support and resistance, and you can see the parallelness, right? From this high to that high, I drew that in, and then I went, and you can see it matched it. So these parallel lines are pretty important, and of course a gap through it because their platform sucks ass. All right, let's move on. Here's Coke, and again you can see it. The saucer bottom failed on the previous one, right? But on Meta, but this one it's still holding, kind of filled in the gap. No big whoop. Coke's been a chopper. I don't think we made any money on Coke in the system in the last 10 months that we've had it. Here's Google, new highs. You can see Thursday, Friday closed kind of same exact spot. So the alphabet is doing what it does. Here's Microsoft again, kind of failed to make a new high, which I'm sure concerned a lot of people. And the end result was a give up trade on higher volume, right? So again, volume's important to me. When you have these failures or new highs, you get new highs with low volume, that's a sell automatically almost. Here's Amazon again, the anomalous gap. What? Really? I mean, at least it was direction of the trend, right? But my God, what the flip? These AIs they're so smart, they should never have gaps. It should have been built in a long time ago. Yeah, I got to move on. It's pissing me off. Here's Apple, new highs Friday. Kind of had a reversal down, but still strong, right? Not much there to report. Again, Apple is a pretty steady Eddie. It was so quiet there forever, and the parallelness, we kind of hit it, right? From this low to this low, and off of this high, that parallel, right, is right in the hunt. So you got to be a little cautious here. Just getting, I'm going to buy Apple today or Monday. What the frick? No, don't buy Apple. I mean, if you haven't been in, don't buy it now. For Christ's sakes, wait for a break. The frick, people are so stupid when it comes to trading. They're afraid of, the number one fear of trading, and there's a lot of fears, greed, hope, fear. The worst one is the fear of missing out. Oh, everybody else is making money. I got to get in there. That's why program trading is worth its weight in gold. This system that I'm showing you now, the StockMatrix program, it's just a simple thing, but it's a systematic approach, and I've proven it makes money, right? So We had a bear and a bull. It flipped from a bear to a bull. So now sideways actions, it'll lose because it's a longer term system. It's not a trading system. But anyway, don't buy Apple up here. I don't care if it's trending up and it looks good. It doesn't make sense. Now, if you wanted to buy a break in Meta, guess what? We just had 11%er. That's the breaks you buy. You don't buy them up here anyway. People just get so crazy. I mean, you told me not to buy it and it went up. I don't give a flying rat's ass. It's the smart thing to do. There's a zillion things to trade. Don't trade. Get caught in the fear of missing out. That's a terrible fear. One of the worst. Anyway, here's Tesla. This is a little chopper. I mean, it looks pretty friendly. It doesn't look bearish to me at all. This break was so mild. It's more of a time break, which are your most important, right? Here's another one, right? This was your break, and then it had a time break for 2 months, damn near. Those are the most important because then it powers it up, right? It loads the spring. It takes the spring's getting tight, and it explodes. Right? Same thing happens in all these markets that are trending, right? And I kind of had this on the downside. That's why you got flags. That's why you get coils. That's why you get pennants, right? Because of the action of the traders is the basic over time. It never changes, right? These people get caught up, and it's a natural trading deal. Psychologically. Here's Lynn, kind of turned into a bear. We got chop. We're finally in the chips, but we haven't. Our stops are making money a little bit. Of course, with these gaps, there's nothing guaranteed. You can see we made new lows here. If I'd have drawn a line out, that's kind of your support. Well, let me just do it. New line. Yeah, that'll be your support. Either these lows or down into here, right? Somewhere in here. Makes sense. You can see, though, this whole area is either a potential top for the bears or it's a consolidational period, a massive one. And this is a fairly, I believe Lynn is a hydrogen play. Don't quote me on that. It's the only energy thing I got. I didn't put any energies. Everything else, that's it, if that's an energy play. Here's Edison, kind of a chopper. This, had its correction. Again, this was an opposite deal, right? So when Meta, Apple, NVIDIA were making lows in April, this was making highs. So this makes sense, right? We've just made new highs in a couple of those big dogs again this week, 3 or 4 of them. So makes sense that Edison has not made a possible bottom. And of course, if those do make highs and we go down into the end of the year, which would make sense, some major correction into the end of the year, that you'll see Edison up in here by January 1st. Here is Adobe, kind of just a slog. I am actually short on the system, and I feel comfortable being short. There's not too many times you can say that, but man, this has been such a long bear, right? And it goes way back to 2022. So this bear is alive. Now, again, you gotta assume that I can knock out these lows just for the hell of it. It's not that far away. Makes sense, right? Now we didn't have a trap here. We did have a bull trap on this little one, so it's very possible that we could have a trap. We definitely had a trap here, a bull trap, but no bear trap. So again, it might knock that out, and that'll be your trap area. Again, that'd be a bear trap. Here is IBM. Oh, joy, IBM. So you can see that this trend line kind of hit, right? So don't buy it. I mean, don't buy don't buy strength. I think you buy the weakness. If you're a bull, always a perpetual buyer. Wait for a good dip in Apple. We're getting them across the board now on weird anomalous shit. This one had a gap down. For Christ's sakes, IBM has their own freaking AI, and it's the stupidest AI platform. Don't buy their stuff. They can't predict their own stock. This 10% gap kind of started it all. It did follow through. And now we made new highs on this wild action. It's just stupid. AI is broken. It doesn't work. But we are riding the parallel channel. So we've completed it now, made another new high. IBM is one of those that was pretty dormant for quite a while. Back in here when everything was gearing up. And so it's been a good trender, but my God, their AI is geared up for anomalous, for volatility. As long as you know that, you expect it, right? So don't buy new highs. You wait for a break is the rule. You can see here's a BK. This little gentle pennant or whatever it is a time break, just like this one. So makes sense a little bit that, well, let me just draw it in, and I'll leave it on the chart. Over there. Well, I'll just draw it down to the lows. I'll take that off. Don't extend right. Apply. Alright. Duplicate. Alright. So there is the time zone came in. You can see that the break was shallow compared to the previous one, but the time makes sense. So if you're a bull wanting to buy BK, which is a pretty slower moving stock, much safer probably, you could it's a good zone to maybe buy it. Or, you can see the action here, right? You can buy calls, maybe 110 calls. Again, we know if you're doing that for this pop, you go out only a couple months is all you need to go out in time. Now, it's not my system, of course. That's just me talking bullshit here, but that's your power of knowledge of knowing the charts. Procter & Gamble, just kind of a chipper. JP Morgan, again, we kind of drew in the same stuff here. You can see this is where the projected break would be on April 7th. Again, 7ths are key, right? This would be also the 7th almost, 8th. 7th would be here. So again, pretty logical that, well, again, it could just make a new high on that zone too, and then maybe finally, we'd have to move all this down the way. Let's go to Coinbase. Again, kind of caught in its own wake. Pop this bullet bull, and I got the alternatives mounted here. You can see we've already done this in price, but not in time. This is November 5th. This is December 10th. Again, this low, which was the 7th, right? So again, we're looking at I guess it'll be an annular next year, but a monthly one, that's pretty key to me. Let me see what this high was. This was the 18th. So the 18th and the 7th, pretty simple. You always be observant on those time periods on the monthlies. Now, again, next year, these could be annuals if we haven't taken them out or something. Here's Cintas, the fire and laundry company. A freaking high dollar stock. Just had a 4-to-1 split up here. Poof, dropped 20%. Made new highs. Again, Cintas. Cintas is a BlackRock and whatnot company. So one of their faves. So, but it's a trender. It makes good money as long as you don't get too carried away. Could be a potential high, right? I mean, you got to respect that as a potential longer term high. Now, everybody doesn't think it could ever break, and maybe it won't. And if you're buying a dip, this is where BlackRock bought it last time. Pushed everybody out, knocked it down, created the volume, enough volume so they could buy a heck of a lot more. Pushed it up, made new highs, probably got out of the new positions to cause this break. They're trading it for 20%. What a trade, right? All right, I'm going to sign off. Thanks again. We're kind of in the midst of the solar eclipse. 33 market days over is my matrix zone. So, and that will be definitely an interesting period. So I'm going to sign off. Everybody have a great rest of your trading next week, and happy hollow.